Hi, this is the second part of the interview I made in Melbourne, Australia in January 2011. So now I'm interviewing Ken Murray, not the actor, the guitarist. He's a teacher, guitar teacher, professor in the University of Melbourne. And so it's an old interview, but at last I took the decision of publishing all of those interviews. So, well, that's interesting, I think. Professor Ken Murray, you are the coordinator of a classic guitar here in University of Melbourne. Your experience about the guitar teaching in a didactical field?
Yeah. Well, I guess Italian repertoire is very important. As John was talking about Carcassi, with studies of Carcassi and Giuliani and Carulli as well. And I've just recently, we're reshaping the AMEB guitar syllabus, which is the main system or syllabus for exams in Australia, and I've been on the board involved with creating these lists of repertoire, and already there's very strong presence of Italian composers, but I think actually that will be increasing slightly, a little bit to my surprise, as we sort of adding new contemporary repertoire, contemporary studies and pieces for guitar. There also seems to be a lot of support for studies by Giuliani and Carcassi and Carulli in the syllabus, and some of the less well-known studies. So that's been actually really enjoyable discovering. Particularly Giuliani is one of my favourites for studies for the guitar, particularly in the first 3 or 4 levels, 3 or 4
Yes.
years of playing. There are the Carcassi studies, particular ones that we already know so well, and sometimes it's good to be able to find alternatives to studies like the A major or E major, well-known pieces. And I think the studies of Giuliani probably haven't been utilised as much as they could be, and they're starting to have more presence on this syllabus. I certainly, in teaching students at the university, often use Giuliani's larger scale works, Theme and Variations, Sonata Eroica, which I studied with John years ago, and also of course the Sonata in C, which I think we studied as well. Mm-hmm. So really fantastic works in recital programs for students to learn, and particularly with Giuliani too, to be able to learn about different aspects of 19th century musical style and singing on the guitar, which I think comes through very clearly in his music. Also, I've been lucky enough to play and to teach some contemporary Italian repertoire, including Castelnuovo-Tedesco concerto, which a student of mine performed last year with piano, and I think it's fantastic work for students, advanced students, to learn, and good introduction to the concerto idiom. And I also like other works by Castelnuovo-Tedesco. The ones I know the best are probably some of the harder Capriccio Diabolico and the Sonata for Bonaguri, which I think are excellent works.
Yes. And about chamber music with guitar, you have a chamber music class here in university.
That's right.
Do you use chamber music with the guitar of the same period? I mean, Italian, the beginning of the 19th century, still.
Beginning of the 19th century.
Yes, for example.
Certainly, some of the.
I mean, with the violin and guitar, flute and guitar.
Yeah, flute and guitar works by Giuliani,
Paganini,
and Paganini. Yep. The Giuliani flute and guitar. Paganini.
We did, remember, what was the work we did? You, me and Danny, years ago, for 3 guitars.
Gragnani.
Filippo Gragnani.
I've had quite a few students play that.
That's such a nice piece of music. It's
it's lovely. Yeah.
And also Castelnuovo-Tedesco wrote chamber music. So and the concerto. So your students played the concerto, isn't it?
With Tedesco, I played also the Romagero Gitano.
Yes, several times.
A few times. I played it once when I was a student here, and because John recommended it, you knew it really well through Siegfried Behrend recording, which is a fantastic recording. And so I did that as a concerto component of my studies, and I've since played that a couple of times with professional groups as well. That actually seems to be getting played a lot, that piece.
It's becoming quite popular now. Yeah. It's actually very good music. Fantastic
and
music.
I think for a choir, it's a very attractive piece to program, and also pretty manageable. It's getting the guitarist, and it's they'll often pair it perhaps with some Spanish works or some Italian works.
You mean Romancero Gitano, for example?
Yes, exactly. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about. So that's been played. I've played it a few times in Melbourne, but I noticed there are other guitarists playing it. Karen Sharp, who's one of the leading classical guitarists here, I think has performed that.
Sorry?
Karen Sharp.
Karen Sharp.
She's in Brisbane.
I see.
And she played that piece in Melbourne at the Recital Centre a few months ago, and also at the Adelaide Guitar Festival.
I see.
With the choir. So it's becoming, and I've been asked to play it next year actually in Sydney. So it seems to be popular amongst choirs. I also played the first Australian performance of the Berio sequenza for guitar back in the early 90s, I think 92. And I very much enjoyed playing that piece.
Where did you play it?
At Trinity College Chapel.
Because I heard it by Elliot Fisk in Bologna some 10 years ago. Yes.
Yeah. It was. We used to have really good music shops where the latest scores, would appear on the shelves, and one of them in town called Fine Music had a guitarist worked there. I can't remember his name, but I remember walking in and the Berio sequenza was sitting there. It was hot off the presses. I think it was early 1992, the year after it had been published. And as an enthusiastic student, I grabbed it and learnt it and played it sort of later that year. I think I might have done it in my master's recital as well as in a concert at Trinity College. And I guess also I've come to know through Jeffrey Morris, who I think you've tried to make contact with.
I already interviewed him yesterday.
Through him I've come to know some of the works of Maurizio Pesati, particularly the studies, and Jeff and I have played together some pieces by Clementi. Is it Clementi?
Aldo
Clementi. We played some guitar duos and some guitar ensemble pieces. And Manca, I got to know some of Gabriele Manca's pieces through Jeff, essentially. But another thing that's just worth mentioning is we've had a lot of visiting Italian guitarists in recent years, starting with Piero Bonaguri quite a while ago, and he played.
Piero came here in, I think the first time it must have been 1991?
Or maybe 1990 even, yeah.
No, because
it was 91.
Yeah, because I'd already met Bernie.
Oh, okay.
Because he wanted to go to see Hanging Rock, because the Australian movie of Picnic in Hanging Rock was very famous in Italy, and we took him with Bernie's parents for a picnic to picnic at Hanging Rock.
With no intentions.
No.
He did a concert of all
Oscar Giglia came here in the 1960s or 70s. I saw Oscar Giglia in the Melbourne Town Hall at that time, and I can't remember who he sang with. A very distinguished tenor. They did the Britain songs from the Chinese and so forth.
Someone from overseas, the tenor, or was it?
Yes.
Well, that's all. The interview has been cut because afterwards there were some hesitations, so I decided to cut just there. Anyway, so there was an allusion to Oscar Griglia coming to Australia in the 60s or 70s, it's not clear, and accompanying the singer who played songs from the Chinese by Britain. It has been cut because it was not very clear, so I just tell you. And Griffiths is there together with Ken Murray, as the previous interview I posted before. Well, so little by little I'm going to publish all of these videos. There are so many. Well, it will come. Bye bye.